the innocent.
More in-depth information here. There's like a lot of Hitaba Malakai influence on these monsters and this scenery. Like, I'm wondering, this should be the stack here, you know, every time you go into this area. Wait, why did he have stacks before? Who's probably... Can you go in there multiple times? You know, like, at the start, bar is full, I go in. Then, on a certain time when this is, like, depleted, you get thrown out of the rift. Then you kill more monsters and go back in. Hey, Dom.
They approach your world, your Readtrough. You must take the fight
in the start,
to them.
I actually thought that the cyclone, the tornado, was actually part of the mechanic because it was actually following this route here of the rift here, right? The crack. But you actually saw that like super start, I guess.
They approach your world, your Readtrough.
Like it's following the rift here, so I thought it's like a mechanic of the rift, like get out of the tornado. I actually didn't thought it's an actual skill.
Embrace the power.
Like this here, 12 life per second lost for acrobatics. That is insane. And the question is, this is tier 1. You know, and tier 1 is like the lowest, so that's like questionable, like, you know, in a good way, I would say.
Chaos. Become more than mortal.
Unique items can be transformed. Oh, so you cannot go from the start until throw shafts in and then actually, so you need to skill that.
Face the night.
But one thing that I really think is cool, that you level up this device. And on a certain point, you can actually get the entire skill tree. So there's really a mechanic that you build up through playing the entire league, or at least for longer periods of time. I think tier 1 is the lowest. Tier 3 is the highest. So, this is a thing that I'm interested actually. So, we got spoilered, not really spoilered, but there was an information that Chris gave us last week that they are working on making the Atlas smaller for 3.17. He also mentioned that's not going to be a thing in 3.16. So, my personal guess would be, since 3.15 was not the best in terms of the numbers of the league, and players quitted quite early on. A lot of players did, and I know that. Me, including myself. Like, I think the Expedition League was the league that I have played the least out of all the leagues that I played in. And maybe that's the decision why they actually make the Atlas improvement this expansion already. Which are welcome, to be honest. Like, going over the entire 150 maps and whatnot, it takes quite a long time for me as somebody that plays a lot of PvE.
They are ravenous. They are endless. They are the Scourge.
But the trailer on its own is like really, really cool. Yo, that's what I'm talking about. That's some statistics here and not like others. Good. Let's go over into detail. So, since I'm an old ass fucking man, we're gonna scroll in to make like a better look, right? So. Good. Path of Exile Scourge. In Path of Exile Scourge, you must fill the Blood Crucible with blood of your enemies, then shift into the alternate Rayclast, where an apocalyptic event rages in order to slay powerful demons and craft potent items. And I have to say, I really like this in the introduction of the live stream, where Chris actually said, yo, we're not here for saving Ray class once again. We're actually here to kill demons and get better loot. I mean, that was like so good. Our October expansion contains the Scourge Challenge League, new skill gems, a rework to the passive skill tree, improvements to the Atlas endgame, new aspirational endgame content, new guild features, new unique items, and much, much more. Fill the Blood Crucible. A mysterious figure appears out of nowhere, trying to escape from something you can't see. I can relate to that. She hands you a rusty-looking device called the Blood Crucible and urges you to implant it into your body. I mean, yeah, if I go out, you know, and some weird dude, you know, like, with a cape over, like, yo, hey, yo, do? Take this thing and implant it in your body. It's gonna be amazing, you know? Like, the first thing that I would think is like, yo, of course I'm gonna implant whatever you give me, cause I know you since my lifetime and this is probably gonna be amazing, right? I mean, that's some weird decision making. Could we not, like, make the story a little bit different? Like, yo, there is like the Scourge coming over and every exile is now infected with like some poisonous, venomous, whatever thing, and they are about to die if they don't insert this thing, you know, and kill demons to extract your life power to keep yourself alive, you know? Then I would say, okay, dude, if I don't do that, I'm fucking dying, you know? I'm not gonna, like, take any fucking device from any random stranger that is, like, mysterious... What was the word? I think it was, like, more upwards. But, yeah, you get the idea, right? Anyways, for some weird reason, we decide to put in this device that this random dude gave us. I mean, that's probably fine. A second, actually, let me get this browser overlay so we have a little bit of darker scene here. So, in the Blood Crucible fills with the blood of monsters you slay. Once you reach a certain threshold, you're able to activate the device. This will instantly thrust you into a parallel reality, an alternate raid class overrun by demons known as the Scourge. That reminds me of Diablo 3. Or Diablo in general. The more blood you have collected, the longer you can stay shifted into the parallel raid class, but the longer you stay, the more damage you will take. Let's take a look at the screenshots. Ah, I see. So, this guy is apparently playing, what is it, Fireball? Has, like, 2 life flasks and a small mana flask. So this is, he has MTX on, but this guy apparently is level 2. Boring. Next one. What is this? Is playing a poison build. This is probably poison concoction on a 6 link with male violence activated. So yeah, typical poison build. He has 11 stacks, and that's pretty much all we see. Interesting. Next one. Yeah. I mean, those demons, they are like, they remind me even of Diablo. Like, no joke. Wait a second. Diablo 3 Diablo. From the campaign, actually. That was actually quite funny once we saw Diablo the first time. Like, yo, for all the not Diablo players, this is Diablo in Diablo 3. So, I'm sorry to say, but this is oddly familiar to me. As well as the flooded demon thing, you know? So, yeah. Anyways, let's continue. Scourge your items. You can place an item inside the Blood Crucible. This is one thing anyways. Is this gonna be a new window that you can open? Where you can, like, enter all of this thing. Or it's probably right-click your device and you're gonna store items in your... Yeah, of course! This makes a lot more sense now. So what you do, you're gonna, like, slice up a part of your body, you know? And you implant this microchip, you know? And then you can open this microchip to put in weapons and amulets and boots and body armors and, you know, even later on, even more items. It's like a backpack in your body. I mean, ARPG things, I guess. While you're killing the Scourge, it absorbs corruption from the alternate raid class and focuses it onto the item. After enough kills, your item can be transformed, corrupting it and granting it a pair of scorched modifiers. One of these is a powerful beneficial mod, and the other one is a detrimental mod that may or may not strongly affect your build. Yeah, in the overview we've seen a couple of those where I think the bad thing was so worse than the good thing, so I don't know if I want to take that. If you get combinations you're unhappy with, your item is not ruined. By putting it back into the Blood Crucible and killing even more monsters in the alternate raid class, you can transform it a second or a third time, potentially getting a better pair of mods that override the first set. So my question is tier 3 mods always going to be better than tier 1 mods, or is it just a chance of just rerolling, you know? There is tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, right? Does this include better stats so you can reach better outcomes on a tier 3? Or is it just a reroll? So if I say, I'm just like, I'm doing this for the first time, my 2 mods are shit, I'm gonna reroll, and now I have the best mods, for example, would that be an upgrade if I go to tier 3, or is it just, let's reroll again? You know, like, can you reroll this just 3 times, or will actually the tier of the corruption make an impact on what the possible outcome is? Just reading chat, somebody says, they told it will be better, and the other one says it's indeed chance to reroll 3 times. So what now? It will be upgrade? Well, let's see. So here, for example, deal no physical damage. This is interesting in some parts. I mean, probably would wonder now, why is this a good thing, deal no physical damage? But for example, there are builds where you don't want to deal physical damage, as well as like deal no fire damage, for example, is also handy in some builds, but not in all. For example, let's say you play a lightning-based ignite build with like elemental equilibrium, and you have a ring that gives you fire damage to attacks and spells, you know? I know that they reworked the elemental equilibrium, but just as an example. So with Hex Blast, for example, your Hex Blast, all damage combined can ignite. Your fire, your cold, your lightning, your chaos, your whatever damage you have combined is the result base core of your ignite. So the problem is, if you have it's even one freaking fire damage in there, it's gonna ruin your elemental equilibrium. But if you have something like deal no fire damage, you can like, I'm not even sure, deal no fire damage, can you then even ignite? Unless you use the Black Flame Ring, because then your ignite damage is actually chaos damage. Well, you kind of get the idea. Sometimes it's useful to get rid of certain things. Then, movement speed minus cold dress. Is this a trait I would like to take? I don't think so. Like, 4% movement speed is nice, but hey, 20% cold dress? Like, losing 20%? Or 4% movement speed? Like, for 20% movement speed? Yeah, maybe, but for it, no. You have no life regen. Curse enemies with conductivity. Oh, shit! Dude. That is big. Wait a second. We need a list. Probably we need to wait until like all the modifiers are there on like PoEDB or something, because curse enemies with conductivity and hit could be on gloves, could also be on jewelry, but not on boots, for example, based on the modifier pool. The question is, can you get like curse conductivity and hit on your boots as the Scourge implicit? That would be interesting to know. 1 minimum frenzy, -10. I don't think this is like good at all. Unless you are a gladiator and you want to have the minimum frenzy charges. But overall, and not with a perfect blast. Like, why would you not blast the implicit and then corrupt it? Ah, come on, dude. What is this? What is this? And Aniria coming in with their hosteroni, and thank you very much for the sub. Really appreciate it. Thank you very much for 18 months. Welcome back, thank you very much. We're just going over the Scourge reveal. Oh, upgrade your Crucible, that's interesting. As you slay Scourge, the Blood Crucible gains experience and can level up. You can allocate its skill points in its own passive skills screen, which allows it to specialize in aspects including unlocking additional item slots, faster item transformation, better transformation outcomes, and the ability to transform uniques. So one thing I'm interested, can you just pick any of those? What I guess, or do you have to go from... No, actually, you can choose any you want. Because otherwise it would be like, start here and scale down here, like a tree that's like connected, right? But you can literally take whatever you want, you just need to find the ones that you are most interested in. The Dreamfurnance. In the Atlas of Worlds, you may find the Dreamfurnance, a device that grants you the ability to place maps in the Blood Crucible alongside your equipment. When the map absorbs enough corruption and transform, it gains a beneficial and a negative effect. Jeez. In the same way that a piece of equipment does, but it can also gain a modifier that changes the behavior of Scourge League in the map entirely. Maps can be transformed up to 10 times, increasing their risk and reward substantially each time. When a map is transformed a second or subsequent time, there is a chance that the new beneficial or negative modifier stack alongside the existing ones, enhancing their power, or chance that a new modifier are added. So, let's see. This is like, do you see how often? Oh yeah, Scourge Tier 1, Scourge Tier 4, and 10. What is here? Shifting the time bomb, killing a rare or unique enemy. Wait, okay. Chance to suppress spell damage. This was like one of the new mechanics. Coordination Scarab. Shift a rare and unique enemy. Cannot manually shift. Okay, players have negative physical damage reduction while in Nightmare. Quantity. Okay, the tier 10 one. Monster Nightmare deal 120% more damage. They take 45% less damage. Players lose 300 life per second while in Nightmare. Rare Scourge monsters drop 3 additional maps, and rare Scourge monsters drop 7 additional stacked decks. Yo. I see there's like gonna be so much value in a couple of those. But 120% more damage, it's gonna be big. I'm not too worried about the less damage, to be honest. Like, if you're able to run tier 14 maps, Scourged 10, you know what you're getting into, right? So I think the defense will be a lot more important because you're just gonna die. You know, like, damage is something you can do over a certain amount of time, but if you get killed over and over again, there is no damage to be made, you know? So it's gonna be interesting to see how much damage you actually need to get up to actually survive those maps. So that's a big one. Passive skill masteries. The Scourge expansion includes a rework of Path of Exile's iconic passive skill tree. Despite these large changes, the tree is intended to feel familiar to existing players. We've rebalanced all passive skills, consolidated their power around their primary function, and moved many niche stats to a new system, passive skill masteries. This is like so freaking cool. When you allocate the first notable passive skill in a cluster, a mastery appears. Oh wait, but you see up front that there is a mastery included over here. So the notable, that's like the big one. Allocating a skill point to the mastery allows you to pick from a list of advanced stats that match the theme of the cluster. This new system both makes the tree more understandable and give you more freedom for how you plan your passive skills. We've also rebalanced a few keystone passives, changed the locations of some, and added 6 new keystones to the area. Let's see. So, recover 10%, like this is a brand mastery, like obviously. Recover 10% of mana when your brand expires. Yeah. Brands have 30% increased AoE if 50% deterioration expired. Yeah, maybe. Brands attach a new enemy each time they activate no more than once every 0.3 seconds. This is freaking big. This is actually insane. Because this was actually a cluster jewel stat that you needed to make, what was the brand that I always tried and never finished, actually? God, what was the brand name? Chat, help me. I always said penis brand, but what is it? EP, chat! Faster! Stream delay. Penance brand. There you go. Yeah, I called it penis brand the most of the time. Penance brand. It sounds similar. Thank you, chat. Thank you. So, for Penance brand, you wanted to have that, so you attach the brand to the enemy, and after 0.3 seconds, it jumps to the next one, leaving the explosion. And then you stacked a ridiculous amount of cast speed, so you actually got those explosions to maximum stacks, like, as close as to 0.3 seconds if possible, you know? So this actually was the reason taking an entire cluster setup on your brands together with the enormous amount of brand attachment range. So this is insane. The other two is like, whatever, but this is big. Brand Recall has 50% reduced cooldown recovery rate. This might be very interesting. But they sadly changed it. Remember back in the days when Brand Recall actually refreshed a certain amount of durations. Let's say you use Brand Recall and your brand duration or your brand detach time is plus 2 seconds. So if you were able to get the Brand Recall cooldown to less than 2 seconds, you casted your brands on the start of the map and then you just walked around using Brand Recall because the first brands you're going to put on the floor will stay or will last until the end of the map. All you did, cast your brands and use your Brand Recall as your movement ability, more or less, you know, on your left click, and you just summoned your brands over again, and they always stayed. So, if that would be still a thing, this would be insane. If not, I don't think this is... I think we have enough sources of getting cooldown recovery. You can cast 2 additional brands. Yes, I definitely see that. That's like really good too. And increased brand attachment range is really good too. It sounds like weird, but on, for example, Penance brand, like increased brand attachment range got removed on some clusters, you know? And the result is usually your brands chain, if you get enough of those, your brands chain over a screen. You put them there, you don't even see the monster, and your brand's like, yip, and kills the stuff off screen, you know? And they removed a lot of brand attachment range, so... Now, considering getting more and more of these things, plus the ones that we already have on the tree, that could be like a good return of the brand things. So, Fire Mastery, Fire Exposure, you inflict, okay, recover 2% life when you ignite a non-ignited enemy. Fist damage converted to fire damage. This is big, dude. This line here is big. I don't know why would you put 2% life when you ignite an enemy? I mean, wait a second. If you play an Elementalist or anything Ignite hefty and you have Ignite Proliferation and you do 1 Ignite and you see the whole map burning, you're instantly full. So actually this is better. I was like regenerate 2%, like fuck this, but recover 2% is instant. This is actually quite big, but if your character is tanky, I don't think you need that. The physical damage convert to fire, this is insane. If we have the same for cold and for lightning over here, and you anoint that... No, wait, you cannot anoint that because you still need to... Wait a second. Imagine... I mean, that's probably not gonna happen, right? But imagine anointing this, and then you use 1 skill point to activate the mastery. That would be insane, dude. If that works... Like, I don't think so. You say yes, you can? I mean, if you can, that would be ridiculous, man. That would be insane. Imagine getting a bunch of lightning damage and the fist to lightning. I wouldn't be too sure about that. Like, seriously, I don't think so. But if, that would be insane. Because now what you can do, basically, just like some mind gathering here, right? So, Walfrine, thanks for the prime, man. So, what if you use this one unique amulet that they showed us, right? With 3 additional anointments of enchantments. So you have 4 anointments. My first guess was like, yo, let's make a power charge stacker and anoint all 3 power charges on the tree. But what if you use it this way, that you are just saying, yo, where is my coolest fire mastery stuff on the tree? For example, as a chieftain, you have to travel a long way to get up here. Chieftains are usually like fire-based builds, right? So what if we pick all the best fire ignite like stuff on the tree, anoint all of them to actually get the mastery out of them? Like, that's... I don't... Like, that's why I say, like, some combinations could be incredible powerful. But one thing I do have to note, though, I think... If I'm not... Like, I'm not 100% sure, but I think he said something... that there is multiple fire masteries, and if you choose recover 2% life on this one, and you open the next fire mastery, this one is grayed out, so you can only choose one of the remaining ones, okay? But still, there is a lot of things that might be interesting, as well as the increased fire damage per 20 strength. I don't think this is too good, because 20 strength is a lot, okay? And in the end, it's increased fire damage. If there will be more fire damage... Holy shit, that will be insane. But, you know, 20 strength per 1% increased fire damage, like, you have so many sources of increased damage, so unless you get, like, Even if you have 2000 strength that my old character had, that would just be 100% increased fire damage. Yes, it is good. But, I mean, if you get it for 1 skill point, I mean, sure you take it. But, yeah, I think, like, in the end, it's 1 skill point for 100% increased fire damage if you have 2000 strength. So there is actually no question about that. But as I said, it's still increased. Fire dot multi and negative fire resistance, whatever. I mean, fire dot multi is nice, but the fire resistance we need to check, actually. But yeah, we're gonna see. Like, either way, these masteries are really, really good. So, now, next important thing, let me scroll in because I am blind because I'm old. Solipsism. Intelligence provides no inherent bonus to energy shield, 2% reduced duration of ailment per 15 intelligence. Of elemental ailment. So... That would be over 500 intelligence to be elemental ailment immune. The thing is like... Oh god, wait a second. It's like this base thing, right? That strength gives you life, intelligence gives you energy shield, and dexterity gives you evasion or something, right? Based on level. But I don't know how big that is. But thinking about 600 life should be quite a portion of energy shield. But if you're getting ailment immune for it, I would probably take the trade. Yeah, well, okay, I was like, okay, 2% is times 50, so 50 times 15 is 750, okay? Sorry, chat. No, 750 intelligence. So, you kind of have to be some form of intelligence stacking, but I guess this is definitely something you could look into. As I said, you're gonna lose some ES of it, but, you know, for being ailment immune, I would take the trade. So, Mage Bane. Dexterity provides knowing 1% chance to suppress spell damage. So, suppress spell damage is like the new thing. You have a chance to reduce 50% of the incoming spell damage. So that's like the new, because evade only works for attack, so they have no, like, dexterity builds have no chance of, like, dealing with spell damage. So suppress spell damage is like, you can get this up to 100%, so every incoming spell damage would be 50%, which is a big bonus, right? This could be something like similar to this. I think Mage Bane might even be stronger because I think you actually wanna get to 100% chance to suppress spell damage. I think that's actually gonna be kind of mandatory, because spell damage is a lot of things, you know? Especially for, like, bow builds, you know? You don't really get, like, unless you're, like, in 100% delirious where there's so many monsters that you barely can avoid. But if you're shooting from range, there's a lot of spell damage stuff that can actually hit you without monsters actually hitting you. Good. Leith Shade. Take 50% less damage over time if you started taking damage over time in the past second. 100% more duration on ailments than you. Yeah, we covered this, I think, on the balance thing. I think they mentioned that. I say, like, it lasts twice as much, but it deals 50% less damage, which still means that you're gonna survive it easier. You know, if you take 100 damage per second and you only have, like, 60 life regen, you're gonna drop permanently. If you're gonna get half of the damage, like 50 damage per second, but you have a 60 life regen, yeah, of course, the ignite or whatever will last longer, but you have no issues sustaining that damage. So it's just like spreading that damage over a longer amount of time, basically. So that's like a nice defensive thing. Then we have Divine Shield. Can recover energy shield to above armor. 3% of total physical damage prevented from hits recently is regenerated as energy shield per second. I like that it's regen. So this is like 4 armor energy shield builds. Could be interesting. Ghost Dance, the one from Trickster, is now available. I'm interested in what they bring instead of this node for the Trickster. Remember, at some point, let me quickly pull up here my POV. At some point, the Wicked Ward was actually an Occultist exclusive. They just put the Wicked Ward from the Occultist into the tree. And the same thing will happen now with the Ghost Dance. Put them into the tree. So the question is, what will get Trickster instead of it? I think this is good because the Ghost Shroud also makes you stun immune as long as you... I think it was, wasn't it? Ah, there was Escape Artist. Cannot be stunned while you have Ghost Shrouds. Okay. I mean, it's still like recover every time you lose. I really like the aspect of being stun immune while you have charges. I didn't realize that was actually the next point over here. But anyways, the core question is the same. What will get the Trickster instead of that? And then we have the next one, Versatile Combatant, which basically enables normal characters to reach... wait a second. 2% chance to block spell damage for each 1% overcap chance to block attack damage. So there's a little bit different now. Versatile Combatant is usually the one the Gladiator has, right? This was the one note that says your spell damage block is equal to your attack damage block. And if we're honest, I only know 2 builds, as of thinking in that second, that can reach max block without going glancing blows, which is either the Gladiator or some form of like Necromancer or Scion with Necromancer, sub-ascendancy for the Bone Offering kind of shenanigans, right? But getting max block without the glancing blows on a on a Slayer, on a Ranger, on like whatever other class, I'm not even sure if it's possible. I never tried it. Like if I had those characters, it's usually you take glancing blows with an active skill or something that happens when you block, right? Because you get 60% damage from the blocked hit, so overall you take more damage. So the only reason to take that is if something happens when you block. Recover yes on block, recover a certain amount of life on block. So you need to get something for blocking to make this actually valuable. But with this node, you can get max block on other characters as well, but your maximum chance to block is going to be reduced. So you cannot be a Gladiator with 75-75 or even higher. You're going to be 50-50 maximum. So it is easier to reach, but kind of only half as good, basically, right? Or a third worse. But you have the option to get max block on other characters now without glancing blows, which I think is a much needed thing, to be honest. Especially since they're going to buff shields by a tremendous amount this league. So, new skill gems. Path of Exile Scourge introduces many new skill gems designed to create new build archetypes. Convert your energy shield into energy blades. Summon a giant tornado that is powered by your own projectiles. Rewind your character's timeline with a Temporal Rift. Throw a poisonous concoction at your enemies and help your friends with 6 new party-oriented skills. So, let me quickly check. Wait, we need to scroll down again. This is kind of cool with the energy blades. So basically what that means, you get a portion of your energy shield as added flat lightning damage for attacks, I would assume, right? So that opens up the new way of like low life builds. I mean, we had low life builds last league as well, but this was a physical based. This is now elemental based or lightning based. Could be very, very interesting. This is like linked together. You have like one tank, one DPS, and you just run around and like the DPS kills and the tank just provides extra sustain. The poisonous thing, I think, is pretty cool idea, because I think poison is kind of the coolest way, I would say, of ailments. Because if you compare the ailments, the one that I think of right now, Bleed, Ignite, Poison. What is good on each and what is the other one lacking? Bleed, it doesn't spread. There is no bleed spread. And it can only stack up 1 time or 8 times, or I think even with some weird gloves from like Farrell or something 9 times. But you're limited in the stacks. And it cannot spread. So what about Ignite? Ignite can spread, but maximum 1 stack. Or through certain items, maximum 2 stacks, whatever, but you get the idea. What does Poison do? First of all, it's chaos damage, which makes it the best damage source, you know, because monsters usually have less chaos resistance, but in the overall, based on your damage, right? But poison stacks endlessly, means you can scale your poison damage with attack speed, with cast speed when you have like Poison Blade Vortex, for example, right? And it spreads. And that means that in those 3, I personally think that poison is the best just because endless scaling and spread. Like, if there would be a bleed scaling, you know, or bleed spread, that would be insane, but it doesn't happen. And this is, like, kind of sad, to be honest. So I really like the poisonous theme, and I really like to play poison builds myself. The only issue that I have with poison builds, and this is in the end game content. I remember, I don't know if it was Harvest League, I don't know, it was a league where Harvest was available. And the problem is, have you ever tried to use a poison build for 100% delirious. Like, you need ridiculous amounts of poison damage to make this work, not because you're not able to do it on a lower damage, but you're gonna lag the shit out. Because you're gonna apply like 10, 15, 20 poison stacks on one enemy. The poison proliferation goes off, and now you have like 100 monsters, which can obviously happen on 100% delirious map. Everybody here, every monster has like 20 poison stacks, and it's in the individual poisons, like, how you say? Like, every monster has their own poison 20 times, you know? So it's so much calculation in the background that it just lags out your entire game. Unless, as I said, you have so much poison damage that the monster dies within a second. So the poison proliferation goes off, you probably lose some FPS, but the monster will be dead in relative soon, right? So if you have slower poison or less poison damage and you need like 6, 7, 8 seconds for the poison to kill an enemy, you're gonna lag the shit out. And this is like... That's why Ignite and Bleed work a lot better in 100% Delirious map, although this is the part where you actually lag damage. Yeah, it is ridiculous. It is actually ridiculous. And Sam, thank you very much for the Prime, sir. So, Energy Blade, as I said, Energy Blades have a minimum lightning damage equal to 5% of your ES, plus 2 energy per maximum lightning damage equal to 100% of energy, plus 4... Wait, what? So... Energy Blades have a minimum lightning damage equal to 5% of Energy Shield. Okay. Plus 2 Energy Blades have maximum... Wait, plus 2 Energy Blades have maximum lightning damage equal to 100% of Energy Shield. Plus 40 two-handed Energy Shield Blades have 50% more lightning damage, but... Wait, what? I don't know, like... I'll wait until you guys play that and tell me how this shit actually works. This is, like, so confusing. Energy Blades... equal to 5%. Okay, that's fine. I have an energy value, and this is based my damage. Plus 2 energy blades have maximum lightning damage equal to 100% of energy shield. Plus 42-handed energy shield. No, this is too... No, with these dude, I can't, like... Sorry. Tornado. I'm too stupid to understand this skill. Tornado. So, deals physical damage. Oh, it's a physical base. That's interesting. So, maybe poison tornadoes. Base duration is 2 seconds, base secondary duration is 4 seconds, maximum 1 tornado. That sucks. I hope we can have more tornadoes at some point. Can be hit by your projectiles up to 20 times, reflect 10% of damage taken to enemies, deals damage every 0.25 seconds. I personally see some kind of poison tornado. Like, remember Blade Vortex, Poison Blade Vortex? So it definitely works with Tornado. It's a spell, it's physical, it's AoE, and you can like boost it up with like chaos damage or something like that, and you can like probably inflict quite some poison damage. And since it's poison, it deals damage every 0.25 seconds, means you're gonna deal additional poison stack every 0.25, so might be interesting. Although I like the look of like Burning Arrow Tornado, but like, if it's only gonna be one tornado and this thing moves with like negative 100 movement speed, then fuck this skill. It can look amazing, but if it's slow, I'm not gonna play it. That's how it is. Temporal Rift that we saw, but it was something... Buff makes you unaffected by temporal chains. Okay. I thought this skill doesn't work if you have temp chains. But yeah, since I'm reading the chat, like, what about the cast on death? No, I don't think... If you're dead, I don't think you can revive from the dead. Can you? How are you gonna... No, wait. Like, cast on death, Temporal Rift, so you die, but then you get the snapshot. So technically, you have to... Wait, you cannot do that. Okay. Brainstorming. You unsocket the gem into a one socket. You activate it, you put the gem out, you put it in your cast on death, so if you're dying in the next 4 seconds, you get revert back. So after 4 seconds, you need to unsocket the gem again, use it manually and resocket it back in. Is that what you want to say? Hell no, dude. Who is gonna do that? It's a reservation? Yeah, but this is still a funny idea, I think. Imagine, socketing it out. Okay, that'll be fun, dude. Nadirius, thanks for the T1, man. Thanks for a year, man. Appreciate it. Hey, that would be fun. Good. Then we have Poison's Concoction, added chaos damage, chance to poison. Crit strike chance, consumes 2 charges from 1 life flask if possible. Yeah, that's not a problem. As I said, Poisonous Concoction looks actually pretty cool. And I'm a big fan of Poison Righteous Fire. Like, what's it called? God, not playing PoE for 2 months and I forget everything about the game, dude. Dude. Plague Barrier. Dude, thanks. Holy shit, dude. I'm a noob. Soul Link, Protective Link, Intuitive Leap. Like, these skills, you need friends to play the game with. Who in the chat has friends? Nobody? Yeah, me neither. I'm not gonna use this. But there is one interaction that is very interesting. It's the Minion Interaction. So, for minion builds, that might be actually cool only if your minions are dying quite frequently. So you could actually go max block on your minion build to link your primary minion with Soul Link or like Block Link or like Intuitive Link, and you're gonna help the monsters to survive. So it might be interesting. Streamlined Atlas Endgame. Early next year we'll release a huge overhaul in Path of Exile's Atlas of Worlds Endgame in 3.17 expansion. In the meantime, though, the Scourge release speeds up how quickly you can set up and progress through your Atlas. We have reduced the number of regions from 8 to 4, which reduces the number of watchstones required from 32 to 16. We have also reduced the number of maps on the Atlas to 100 plus the unique maps. We've rebalanced the bonuses for completing content so that by the time your Atlas is fully unlocked, you'll receive a slightly higher level of benefit than you did before. Yeah, I mean, there is nothing to say against that. Like having 8 Atlas regions, I'm just curious, what maps did they remove? You know, this is like, I hope they, I hope GGG had a statistic. What were the most run maps? What are the maps that people don't like to run? Because since we are going from like 156 maps to 100 now, plus unique maps, obviously, but there was only 156 too. You know, if they remove Atoll, if they remove Burial Chambers, if they remove, I don't know, like the good maps, the beach map, you know? All the maps that people like to farm. And therefore, we get all the shitty maps with all the bosses that have 275 stages to defeat the end boss. You know, I hope, I mean, come on. Like, if they remove, like, the good maps, then holy shit. So, Uber endgame content. This is actually, remember the interview that I have done with Grimbro, or where he asked me to join him on stream to talk about what do I want to have for a better PoE? Remember when I talked about Uber content? Remember when I said I would like to have content that is so hard that nobody can beat it? And now, hey, next league, we get Uber endgame content. It's probably not gonna be me, but I mentioned those things. I said I want to have those. That would be insane. So, Path of Exile Scourge introduces new Uber versions of a lot of endgame content which allow you to challenge your best characters on the hardest content we have ever made. 3 of the new unique items that are introduced in these expansions can only be found from specific Uber content. Flawless Breachstones allow access to a new tier of Breach Domain. Blighted maps can now drop Blight Ravaged maps, which can now be anointed up to 9 times, with up to 3 of each type of anointment. Delirium Simulacrums has been extended with additional challenge waves. New Unrelenting emblems can be combined with Timeless emblems to increase the difficulty of Domain of Time of Conflict. Delph has been rebalanced and now offers greater challenge, greater rewards, and more frequent boss encounters. I really like this. Especially since I was like, okay, they're gonna give us one Uber content, like Uber Elder, no, Uber, Grand Uber Elder, for example, Uber Maven, you know? But actually, this way is way better. Like, not Uber bosses, but Uber farmable content, you know? Because, to be honest, if they would have brought Uber 100% Delirious maps, like, Jesus, like, what the fuck, you know, like, there is only a handful of builds that can actually complete a 100% Delirious map without an Aura bot, without a Curse bot, without a Headhunter. I played 2 of those builds that could do that, you know? And they were both, like, yo, this is, yo, let me actually mute this here. Mute. Wait, I'm still in a call? Wait a second. Huh? Wait, why do I have like... Oh, that's WhatsApp, dude. Oh, fuck, dude. Okay, let me quit. I thought it was Discord, man. It's WhatsApp. God damn it. Anyways. So, where did I... Yeah, so doing an Uber 100% delirious might have been fun. And here is like a new skill here. That's probably the time rewind thing, right? Maybe. Yeah, it is. You see here the small little exile. But yeah, this Uber content sounds really, really fucking cool. But I'm scared. Like, remember that build that I had last league with the Juggernaut, 10,000 life, and like super insane damage mitigation? I died to Kosis wave 20 when I did the Simulacrum runs. Imagine getting like to wave 30 and encountering Kosis and Omniphobia on wave 30 with like physical is extra cold, physical is extra lightning, physical is extra fire, monster penetrates 69% fire resistance, monster penetrates 420% cold resistance, you know. Monster is probably has 90% physical damage reduction. Dude, that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be... Can't wait. Cannot wait. So, guild stashes and hideouts. This is like a very questionable point. I know people like this. I know people wanted to have things like that for a long time. I personally, I couldn't care less. Like, I still see that the, how you say, the guild approach is there, and in the guild that I'm running here in PoE, where there's a lot of people that I really like, we do help each other out, but it's not really over the guild stash or something, you know? If I have somebody that when I need help and something like that, you know, I whisper those people from the guild. Sometimes, you know, we put in stuff in the guild stash, you know, like any 5 links early on, you know, before you like vendor it or something, throw in the guild stash, somebody that might start the league like a day later or something has access to those things. It's really cool, but in the greater good, but it's just me, you know, so I don't want to like be like the bad guy here saying like this is shit. But having like unique tabs for guilds, I mean, for private leagues and stuff, I think that's like a big addition, right? I think that might be actually really cool. But for the normal trade league, do I need a blind guild tab? Or I can see the quad tab, for example, but I don't know. If you play as a team, definitely. But if you just play yourself with yourself, I mean, PoE obviously. I don't know, like, would I throw every excessive map that I don't run into the guild tab, or will I gonna sell it for my own profit? Like, as long as no guild member asks me for map, I don't think that I will put any wealth that I generate in the guild tab just for free use. Like, I'm not 100% sure about that. The guild hideouts, yeah, I guess that's nice. But as I said, sorry about that, I am just not that kind of person. So, but it is in there, so I guess that's a good thing. So, improved game systems. In Path of Exile Scourge, we've done a lot of balance rework, improving flasks, ailment mitigation, character changes, character defense, and elemental damage over time. We've made some changes to how stacking auras and curses work, and have buffed most awakened support gems. Check out the full changes in Path of Exile Scourge patch notes. So, we've went over this in the past 3 videos, I think, right? We went over the flask and ailment mitigation thing, and the character defense, recovery, and the kill all aura stackers, aura bots, curse bots, and give us something else for it, right? Expedition goes core. Yeah, that is actually not too surprising, because in the end, yeah, I know Expedition League has a bad taste in a couple people's mouth just because they see all the nerfs that happen. Not really little MBX over here, right? The gambling stuff and like the league itself was cool, you know? I don't mind, like, the logbooks and stuff, the bosses were insane, you know? It was just the sad part that a good league mechanic, or at least one of the, I wouldn't say the best league mechanic, obviously not, right? But I think Expedition League was definitely one of the league mechanics that was better, or one of the better league mechanics, okay? So I'm definitely don't mind this going core. In this so interesting Expedition League, Path of Exile's core game, and are retiring the Piranhas League. So this is the part what I said, right? At some point, let's say in 12 leagues from now, we would have close to 30 league mechanics. No, even more actually. So at some point, you run a map and there is gonna be 20 league mechanics in there. So at some point, you have to get rid of something. And I can definitely see the same way. Like, remember map device on Sana? It gets rerolled every single league. You know, sometimes we have Nemesis, sometimes we have Beyond, then we have Legion, now we have Delirium and Blight. That switches. And I could definitely see that there might be leagues where there's just 10 league mechanics enabled and the rest is on pause. It's a hard decision, you know, because we're gonna have like league mechanics with Harvest, without Harvest, with Beyond, without Beyond. You know, Headhunter builds will definitely enjoy the ones that have Beyond in there, like obvious. So it's kind of hard to say, to be honest, because you might scare off people from playing the game when you remove their favorite league mechanic, you know? But it's probably gonna be in that kind of game. I mean, Piranhas, like, who gives a shit about Piranhas League nowadays? You know, every time you see Piranhas, you're hoping to buy a Headhunter from him, but overall, the Piranhas itself, like, it's such an old mechanic, and I don't think that anybody barely ever use it. Like, Piranhas, Scarabs, and stuff like that, I don't know. You'll start finding Expedition from Act 6 onwards, and there is a base 8% chance you will encounter it in each map, so basically, just in the core pool. We have made some improvements to Expedition, mostly notably changing Expedition artifacts so they are not tradable items anymore, which means they are automatically picked up during the encounters. That's really, really good. And he also mentioned the items where you can re-roll the NPC are still tradable. Just the currency you need for that is not. Which I know there's a lot of people that were buying the artifacts and just gambling all day long. And if they ran out, they just used the currency they made, you know, traded it again for more artifacts and continuously doing that. I'm only interested in the rerolling, which we still have, because I just reroll. And when I see there's a Headhunter popping up or a Mirror of Calandra or something like that, I just stop rerolling, and I know, dude, I need to farm. I need to farm expeditions because there's a freaking mirror waiting for me. This never gonna happen. It just, like, think about it, you know? It technically could happen to maybe some player in the entire league. And much, much more. In addition to 6 new unique items, 30 new divination cards, and 5 new currency items, we have also added 2 new socket styles. Colorblind users... Wait. We have also added 2 new socket styles for colorblind users and have made changes to how currency items drop so that fewer clicks are required to pick them up. Also added new socket styles for colorblind users. I guess that's fine. That's good. We're also teaming up with Twitch rivals to run another Path of Exile Royale tournament, this time with a new twist turn in October 28th, and watch your favorite streamer compete for the share of $30,000 prize pool. Yeah, I might compete, but not I'm gonna win. So let's take a look. This is actually quite sick. Yes, in a good way, in a bad way. Like, you give up and enter Amulet. But this shit, wait a second, it's actually plus resistance. Wait, in the video it was negative resistance. So if you get something like this, 30 all-res and a socket gem, yeah, you're gonna lose life, yes, you're gonna lose some crit multi, but in the end, if you socket in a crit multi support, you know, you're gonna get an amulet that has over like 100 crit multi. That's gonna be insane. Yeah, it's probably negative 30 to plus 30, so you just have to do a lot of divine work to get this going, but, like, it's questionable. When I saw it, I was like, yo, just adding a free support gem to your body armor. This is actually ridiculous. But on the other hand, the amulet is a very, very powerful slot, you know? There is a lot of, like, Badge of the Brotherhood, for example, you know, like a Presence of Chayula, or maybe some God tier rare amulet, life, damage over time multiplier, or fist dot multi and multiplier, crit, mana reservation stuff, you know? Like, even though it sounds really good, I don't think that it will have a lot of plays, because there is a lot of other places where you can actually increase your damage. Will you sacrifice your amulet for one additional socket? Yeah, I think some skills might benefit more than others. Like, if I can play Essence Drain and put in a GMP on top of my Empower so I don't have to switch, That's gonna be amazing. What about Spellslinger? A 7-link Spellslinger now with the mana efficiency? You know, who knows? Maybe some guy will have some good ideas about it. That belt is actually sick. So, we have Strength Dexterity, Cold Fire Res, Magic Utility Flasks cannot be used. Fine. We learned last league anyways, we're not gonna use flasks, we automate them. So, leftmost 4 Magic Utility Flasks constantly apply their flask effects to you. Magic Utility Flask effect cannot be removed. So, my first thoughts about this. Let's go Pathfinder. You know? Let's stack up ridiculous amounts of flask effect. And not the duration, the effect. And then we use like this empowered Quicksilver Flask that has like a 1-second duration but 10 times more powerful. Dude, just with this belt, you're gonna have it's like 200% movement speed for free. You know? But the sad thing is Magic Utility Flask, you know? Like permanent Bottled Faith, a permanent Cinder Swallow, you know. But, you know, Sulfur Flask, permanent increased damage. What about the modifiers on the flask? Ignite immunity, bleed immunity, all these kind of things that you can roll on magic flasks. No, the leftmost 4 magic utility, all 4. So you have 1 life flask and 4 magic flasks. But they are permanently gonna be active. And with the enkinkled orbs or whatever to make them like less duration but like way more powerful, not needing to kill enemies anymore, have them permanently active. I think this belt is the new Headhunter. Yeah, you can get the dodge flask, like 3000 base evasion. Like this belt, technically, let's sum it up. This belt, next to fire and cold resistance and a lot of stats, it will give you 100% movement speed, 3000 armor, 1500 armor, they nerfed that last league, 1500 evasion rating, you know, the quartz flask, this belt will give you permanent 15% dodge and spell dodge, for example. It will give you permanent phasing. What about this one? You know, there's this flask where it gives you phasing on use. Onslaught, the silver flask. You know, with this belt, you can have permanent phasing and permanent onslaught while having ridiculous amounts of movement speed. Like, this belt is insane. No, not life recovery. No. Magic utility flask. Utility is something else. If you go here, items, and let's just create a flask. You're gonna see what I mean. So there is life, mana, utility, and hybrid. And utility is gonna be Basalt Flask, is permanent Pounding, Iron Flask, Resort Ward on use. Wait a second. Restores Ward on use. Yeah, but you don't use flasks. They are permanently active. Silver Flask, Onslaught. You're gonna have permanent Onslaught. Stipnite, 20% more evasion rating. Increased damage, reduced effect of freezing you, whatever. Stun. 100% global critical strike chance for Diamond Flask. More armor, evasion, chance to dodge. This is like here. A Quartz Flask. Chance to dodge and phasing. So permanent phasing, permanent onslaught. Rarity of items found maybe. The Gold Flask. Chaos resistance. Very good. So all, like, if you're lacking, that's actually even better. You know, if you're lacking a resistance. Next point. So, these flasks gotta be crafted. What if you have a flask that gives you 30% all resistance while this flask is active? Does that mean if you have this belt on, you have like 30 all res plus having it whenever flask? Like, let's say a silver flask with all res. And attack speed. You know, based on the crafts. So, is it strong if it's only the base flask? If it's only a silver flask, for example, yes, it is strong. Like, holy shit, this belt gives me permanent onslaught, permanent phasing, dodge, spell dodge, all the good things. But if it's gonna use the the flask effect that you have crafted on it, like bleed immunity, freeze immunity, whatever shit, on top of the flask, that belt is gonna be ridiculously overpowered. Like, we're gonna see how it works. And then there is the new herbs. Like, this is like a little bit weird. Reforges the links between sockets and corrupted items. I think this is good and bad. Because you could that before, it makes it a lot easier, and now it's a gambling again. Because if you have a corrupted body armor, you could still just spend the 1,500 fusings, 1,500 Vile Orbs, and you can link it through the bench. In this case, I think with these items, the Vile Orbs are gonna lose a lot of like value. If you press the red button at top, new items appear. What do you mean? Which red button on the top? Wait, what? But we don't have to go over this all again, right? Yo, this is so cool, actually. What the fuck? That's actually really cool. Okay. So what else do we have? The Stasis Prison. Okay. 100% increased evasion armor. Wow! 100 life! Temporal Rift has no reservation. 100% of damage taken, re-equipment life. Debuffs on you expire 100% faster. Yeah, okay, it's a Temporal Rift chest. Do I have an idea on if this is good or not? No. Okay, so I guess this is an armor where people are like, wow, that's insane! And mbX is like, what the fuck is this shit? I don't even think that I'm gonna use Temporal Rift. I guess it's good. I mean, I don't see it, but maybe, I mean, it's always like testing something and then you see how this actually works, what does it do, you know, how much reservation and so on. So if you understand the principle, if you've tested it, then you might think like, yo, this chest is actually insane. But if not, you end up being like me, like, what the fuck is this shit? So I think like, but it's cool. It's a cool thing that you press the button and you see one more item. That's actually pretty cool. And the supporter packs for the left one obviously is a lot cooler because of this medieval style. But yeah. As I said in the start, is this gonna hype me up? Yeah, a tiny little bit. I mean, no, dude, this is insane. Dude, there is so much things, dude. My head. It's like the first question that I have. Yes, I know patch notes are live now, but when is the update? Is the update for Path of Building live right now? Checking. No update available. God damn it! How am I supposed to plan my build now? Nah, I think I know my league start already. A new quiver appeared? Wait. Oh! Bow attacks fire an additional arrow. That is good. But you know what? Ah, man. What if you craft a mirror? Like, is this a unique only implicit? Or is this like one of the implicits that can roll on it? Because then you have to like craft an insane bow and then gamble if it's gonna get better or not. In the worst case scenario, you craft a mirror tier quiver and you're never gonna hit this mod. This one is new too. Take 6,000 fire damage when you shift into the or out of the nightmare. Randomly shift into and out of Nightmare, and you take 6k fire damage when you shift in or out of the Nightmare. Like, what if you have bad RNG? You're gonna get swapped in, and like a second later swapped out, you take 12,000 damage. Okay, now I need to see again. Is there like a new skill gem now? What else has changed? Sherlock MBX. New screenshots, maybe. New supporter packs. Not really.